James Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Channing Gardner for a birthday party in honor of their daughter Melissa on April 19th, 1937 at 3:30.
Dear Andy, thank you for the birthday present. I have a lot of Oz books, but not The Lost Princess of Oz. What made you give me that one? Sincerely yours, Melissa.
I'm answering your letter about the book. When you came into second grade with that stuck-up nurse, you looked like a lost princess.
I don't believe what you wrote. I think my mother told your mother to get that book. I like the pictures more than the words. Now let's stop writing letters.
I will make my L's taller than my D's.
I will close up my A's and my O's.
I will try to make longer P's. Pass it on.
You're funny.
Will you be my Valentine?
Were you the one who sent me a Valentine saying, "Will you be my Valentine"?
Yes, I sent it.
Then I will be, unless I have to kiss you.
When it's warmer out, can I come over and swim in your pool?
No, you can't. I have a new nurse named Miss Hawthorne who thinks you'll give me infantile paralysis.
Will you help me go down and get milk and cookies during recess?
I will if you don't ask me to marry you again. I will not write personal notes in class. I will not write personal notes in class. I will not.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Love, Andy Ladd.
I made this card myself. It's not Santa Claus. It's a kangaroo jumping over a glass of orange juice. Do you like it? I like you, Melissa.
My mother says I have to apologize in writing. I apologize for sneaking into the bathhouse while you were changing into your bathing suit. Tell Miss Hawthorne that I apologize to her too.
Here is a picture I drew of you and me without our bathing suits on. Guess which one is you? Don't show this to anyone. I love you.
Here is a picture of Miss Hawthorne without her bathing suit on.
You can't draw very well, can you?
Thank you for sending me the cactus plant stuck in the little donkey. I've gotten lots of presents here in the hospital, and I have to write thank you notes for every single one. I hate it here. My throat is sore all the time from where they cut out my tonsils, but they gave me lots of ice cream, and they also take my temperature the wrong way.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Why did they send you to another school this year?
Merry Christmas to you. They think I should be with all boys.
You made me promise to send you a postcard. This is it.
You're supposed to write personal notes on the backs of postcards. For example, here are some questions to help you think of things to say. Do you like Lake Saranac? Is it fun visiting your grandmother. Are your parents really getting a divorce? Can you swim out into the deep part of the lake, or does Miss Hawthorne make you stay in the shallow part where it's all roped off? Is there anybody there my age? I mean boys. Please write answers to all of my questions.
No. No. Yes. Yes. No.
Dear Melissa, remember me? Andy Ladd? They've sent me to camp so I can be with all boys yet again. This is quiet hour, so we have to write home, but I've already done that, so now I'm writing to you. There's a real Indian here named Iron Crow who takes us on nature walks and teaches us 6 new plants every day. This is okay, except he forgot about poison ivy. I won the backstroke, which gives me 2.5 gold stars. If I ever get over 50 gold stars by Parents' Day, I'll win a leadership prize, which is what my father expects of me. I'm making a napkin ring in shop, which is worth 4 stars, and which is either for my mother or for you. I hope you'll write me back, because when the mail comes every morning, they shout out our names, and it would be neat to walk up and get a letter from a girl.
Help! Eek! Yipes! I can't write letters. It took me hours just to write Dear Andy. I write my father because I miss him so much. But to write a boy! Hells, bells, and oriental smells. I'm sending you this picture I drew of our cat instead. Don't you love his expression? It's not quite right, but I tried 3 times. I drew those jiggly lines around his tail because sometimes the tail behaves like a completely separate person. I love that tail. There's a part of me that feels like that tail. Oh, and here's some bad news. My mother's gotten married again to a man named Hooper McPhail. Help! Let me out of here.
Really like the cat. Is that the same cat you threw in the pool that time when we were playing over at your house in the 3rd grade?
No, that was a different cat entirely.
This is a really dumb Halloween card, and it wouldn't scare anyone. But I'm really writing about dance school. My parents say that I have to go this year, but I don't see why I have to. I can't figure out why they keep sending us away from girls and then telling us that we have to be with them. Anyway, are you going to dance school also? Write yes or no, since I know you hate writing.
Yes.
Dear Mrs. McPhail, I want to apologize to you for my behavior in the back of your car coming home last night from dancing school. Charlie and I were just goofing around, and I guess it got out of hand. I'm sorry you had to pull over to the curb, and I'm really sorry we tore Melissa's dress. My father says you should send me the bill. I'll pay for it out of my allowance.
Dear Andy, Mummy brought your letter up here to Lake Placid. She thought it was cute. I thought it was dumb. I could tell your father made you write it. You and I both know that the fight in the car was really Charlie's fault. And Charlie never apologized, thank God. That's why I like him, actually. As for you, you shouldn't always do what your parents want, Andy. Even at dancing school, you're always doing just the right thing all the time. You're a victim of your parents sometimes. That was why I picked Charlie to do the rumba with me that time. He at least hacks around occasionally. I'm enclosing a picture I drew of a dancing bear on a chain That's you, Andy. Sometimes I swear.
I know it seems jerky, but I like to write, actually. I really do. I like writing all of these compositions. I like English class. I like writing letters, and I like writing to you. I wanted to write that letter to your mother because I knew that you would see it. So it was really like talking to you when you weren't here. And when you couldn't interrupt, hint, hint. My father says that everyone should write letters as much as they can. It's really a dying art. He says that letters are a way of presenting yourself in the best possible light to another person. And I think that too.
I think you sound too much like your father. But I'm not going to argue by mail, and anyway, the skiing's too good.
Get well soon. Sorry you broke your leg.
Mummy says I broke it purposely because I'm a self-destructive person and went down Whiteface Mountain without asking permission. All I know is I wish I had broken my arm instead so I'd have a good excuse not to write letters. I'm enclosing a picture I drew of the bedpan. I'm serious. Don't you love its shape?
Andrew M. Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mrs. R. Ferguson Brown for a dinner in honor of her granddaughter Melissa Gardner before the Children's Charity Ball.
I'm writing this letter because I'm scared if I called you up, I'd start crying right on the telephone. I'm really mad at you, Andy. Don't you know that when you're invited to a dinner before a dance, you're supposed to dance with the person giving it at least twice? And I don't mean my grandmother either. That's why they give dinner parties, so people get danced with. I notice you danced with Ginny Waters, but you never danced with me once. I just think it's rude, that's all. Straighten up and fly right, Andy. How do you expect to get anywhere in life if you're rude to women? Nuts to you, Andy. And that goes double on Sunday.
I didn't dance with you because I've got a stretched groin. If you don't know what that means, just look it up sometime. I was going to tell you in person, but I got embarrassed. I stretched it while playing hockey last week, and the only reason I even danced with Ginny Waters is that she takes really tiny steps. You always make me do those big spins, and we could have gotten into serious trouble. So I tried it out at home with my mother first, but it hurt like hell, and that's why I didn't dance with you. I'm using a heating pad now. Maybe we can dance next week at the junior assemblies?
I don't believe that hockey stuff. I think Ginny Waters stretched your groin, and next time you cut in, I'm going to stretch the other one.
You obviously don't know what a groin is.
You obviously don't know what a joke is. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Guess what? I'm going to a psychiatrist now. My mother says it will do me a world of good. Don't tell anyone, though. It's supposed to be a big secret.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I have a question, and would you please write the answer by mail? Because sometimes when you call, my mother listens on the telephone, and when she doesn't, my little brother does. So anyway, here's the question. Do you talk about sex with the psychiatrist?
I talk about sex all the time. It's terribly expensive, but I think it's worth it.
If I went to a psychiatrist, I would talk about you. I would. I think about you quite often.
Sometimes I think you just like me because I'm richer than you are. Sometimes I really have that feeling. I think you like the pool and the elevator in my grandmother's house, and Simpson in his butler's coat coming in with ginger ale and cookies on a silver tray. I think you like all that stuff just as much as you like me.
All I know is that my mother keeps saying that you would make a good match for me. She says if I ever married you, I would be set up for life. But I think it's really just physical attraction, and that's why I liked going into that elevator with you at your grandmother's that time. Do you want to try that again?
Help! Let me out of here. They shipped me off to this nunnery. It's the end of the absolute world. We have to wear these sappy midi blouses and learn posture in gym and speak French out loud in class. Aidez-moi, mon chevalier. Oh God, it's crappy here. All the girls squeal and shriek, and you can hear them barfing in the bathroom after the evening meal. We can only go to the Hartford one day a week if we can find a chaperone, and there are only 2 dances with boys a year. And if we're caught drinking even beer, it's wham, bam, onto the next train and home. Which is worse. Can you come visit me some Sunday afternoon? We can visit boys to tea from 4 to 6. There are all these biddies sitting around keeping watch, but if the weather's good, we could walk up and down the driveway before we have to sign in for evening prayers. They've made me room with this fat, spoiled Cuban bitch who has 9 pairs of shoes, and all she does is lie on her bed and listen to Finian's Rainbow. Quote, how are things in Glocamora? End quote. Who gives a shit how things are there? It's here where they're miserable. The walls of this cell are puke green, and you can't pin anything up except school banners and pictures of your stupid family. What family? Am I supposed to sit and look at the picture of Hubert McPhail? Come save me, Andy. Or at least write so I just hear a boy's voice even on paper.
I just got your letter. They shipped me off too. Last minute decision. Your mother told my mother it would do me some good. She said that I was a diamond in the rough. So I'll write to you as soon as I get smoother.
Dear Diamond, you two. Oh, I give up. Why do they keep pushing us together and then pulling us apart? I think we're all being brought up by a bunch of foolish farts. Now we'll have to write letters, which I hate, but don't let them smooth you out, Andy. I like the rough parts. In fact, sometimes I think you ought to be a little rougher. Love me.
I'm very sorry to be so late in replying, but I haven't had that much time. I have a lot of obligations. I have to write my parents once a week and 3 out of 4 of my grandparents separately once a month. and Minnie, our cook, who sent me a nice box of fudge. Plus, I have all of my schoolwork to do, including this composition, once a week for English class and another one for history. My grandmother gave me this new Parker 51 with some writing paper. It has my name on it as a going away present. But still, it's a lot of writing that I have to do for school. And for my family. So last week, I was so tied up, I skipped my weekly letter to my parents. And then my father called the school long distance all about it. I had to go up on the carpet in front of the rector and say that I wasn't sick or anything, I was just busy working. So then I had to write my parents 3 more pages than usual to make up for the week that I had missed. Anyway, that's why I haven't written to you till now. Phew. School is going well, I guess. In English, we're finishing up Milton's Paradise Lost. In history, we're studying the cause and the results of the 30 Years' War. And I think that the Catholics caused it. In Latin, we're translating Cicero's orations. How long, O Catiline, will you abuse our patience? When I get home, I'm going to try out my little brother's lines and see if it works on him. In French, we have to sit and listen to Mr. Thatcher read out loud all of the parts of Andromache by Jane Racine. I'm supposed to be a great masterpiece and listen to the whole thing, but the class comes right after my football practice, so it's really hard to stay awake. Anyway, in sacred studies, we have to compare and contrast all 4 of the Gospels. You know, it's really hard to believe that they're all talking about the same guy. Anyway, in math, we're trying to factor with 2 unknowns, and sometimes I let X be me, and I think that Y is you. You'd be amazed by how it comes out each time. But my grades are pretty good. They post your weekly average outside of study hall, and last week I got a 91.7 overall average. It's not bad, huh? I got a letter from my grandfather telling me not to be first in my class, because I told him that if I wasn't first, even if I was, we have so few Catholics, and they don't seem too smart, actually. And I don't know, I guess you can be smart and Catholic at the same time. I was elected to the student council, so I'm arguing for 3 things at an upcoming meeting. 1, I think we should have outside sports rather than keeping them all intramural. And I think it would be better to play with Exeter than just play with ourselves. 2, I think we should have more than 1 dance a year. I think that female companionship can be healthy occasionally, even for younger boys. And 3, I think we should only have to go to chapel once on Sunday. I think it's important to pray to a better guy and all that, but if you have to do it all day long, you can get quite bored. And if you're not getting bored by yourself, think about how boring you must be to God. I'm playing left tackle on the 3rd team, and I'll be playing hockey, of course, this winter. But I think I'll try rowing this spring, since I always stink at baseball. Now I have to go and memorize the last 5 lines of Paradise Lost. Well, hold it. Back in a little while. There, that wasn't so hard. Maybe because it reminds me of you and me, sent away from home. Here are the 5 lines. Some natural tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them, where to choose their place of rest, and Providence their guide. They hand in hand with wandering steps and slow, through Eden took their solitary way. There you are. I wrote that without even looking back at the book. And it's right, too, because I just checked it word by word, and it's not that bad, right? In fact, it sounds great if you recite it out loud in the bathroom when no one's in the shower or taking a dump. Love, Andy.
Thanks for your letter, which was a little too long. I guess you have a lot of interesting things to say, Andy, but some of them are not terribly interesting to me. I want to hear more about your feelings. For instance, here are my feelings. This place stinks, but I don't want to go back home because Hooper McPhail stinks, and I haven't heard of another boarding school that doesn't stink, which means that life stinks in general. Those are my feelings for this week. Right soon. Love, me.
Well, one feeling I have almost all the time is that I miss my dog, Porgy. Do you remember him? Our black cocker spaniel who peed in the vestibule when you patted him when you came back to our house after that skating party. I really miss him all the time. Some of the masters up here have dogs, and when I pat them, I miss Porgy even more. I even dream about him. I wrote a composition about Porgy for English called Will He Remember? And I got a 96 on it. It was about how I remember my dog, but will my dog really remember me? I have a picture of him on my bureau next to my parents' picture, but could I have a picture of you, too?
Here's a picture of me taken at the Hartford bus station. I was all set to run away and then decided not to. This is all you get until I get my braces off Christmas vacation. Don't look at my hair, I'm changing it. By the way, do you know a boy there named Spencer Willis? There's a girl here, Annie Abbott, who met him in Edgartown last summer and thinks he's cute. Would you ask him what he thinks of her?
Spencer Willis says Annie Abbott is a potential nympho. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's true.
Annie says to tell Spencer he's a total turkey. Tell him she'd write and say so herself, but she's scared of barfing all over the page.
Hey, do you get out for Thanksgiving? We don't because of the war.
We do, but I don't. I've been grounded just for smoking one lousy Chesterfield out behind the art studio. So now I have to stay here and eat stale turkey with Cubans and Californians. That's all right. I was supposed to meet Mummy in New York, but it looks like she can't be there anyway because she's going to Reno to divorce Hooper McPhail. Yippee! Yay! He was a jerk and a pill, and he used to bother me in bed, if you must know.
I liked seeing you Christmas vacation, particularly with your braces off. I really liked necking with you in the Watson's rumpus room. Will you go steady with me?
I don't believe in going steady. It's against my religion. I hated that stuff with all those pairs of pimply people in the Watson's basement, leaning on each other, swaying to that dumb music with all the lights off. If that's going steady, I say screw it. My mother says you should meet as many boys as you can before you have to settle down and marry one of them. That way you'll make less of a mistake. It didn't work out for her, but maybe it will work for me.
Can we at least go to the movies together during spring vacation?
I don't know, Andy. I like seeing you, but I don't want to go home much anymore. My mother gets drunk a lot, if you must know, and comes into my room all the time and talks endlessly about I don't know what, because she slurs her words. The only really good time I had was when I came over to your Christmas Eve. That was fun. Singing around the piano, hanging up the stockings, playing Chinese checkers with your brother, helping your mother with the gravy. I liked all that. You may not have as much money as we have, but you've got a better family. So spring vacation, I'm going to visit my grandmother in Palm Beach. Ho hum. At least I'll get a tan. P.S. Enclosed is a picture I drew of your dog Porgy, who I remember from Christmas Eve. The nose is wrong, but don't you think the eyes are good?
I'm stroking the fourth crew now. Yesterday, I rowed number 2 on the 3rd. Tomorrow, I may row number 6 on the 2nd, or number 4 on the 5th, who knows. You get out there and work your butt off, and the launch comes alongside and looks you over, and the next day they post a list on the bulletin board saying who'll row what. They never tell you what you did right or wrong, though, whether you're shooting your slide or bending your back or what. They post the latest results for everybody to see, and some days I think I'm doing really well, and I get sent down 2 crews. I don't know. One day I was obviously hacking around, and they moved me up, so there's no rhyme or reason. I went to Mr. Clark, who's the head of the rowing, and I said, "Look, Mr. Clark, there's something really wrong about this system. People are constantly moving up and down, and no one seems to know why. And it doesn't seem to have anything to do with whether you're good at this or bad, or strong or weak, or coordinated or uncoordinated. It all seems random, sir." And so Mr. Clark turned to me and said, "That's life, Andy." And he walked away, and maybe that is life, but it doesn't have to be life. You could easily make rules which actually make sense, so the good ones move up and the bad ones move down, and people actually knew what was going on. I'm serious about this. I'm thinking about going to law school later on.
Your last letter was too much about rowing. Do you know a boy there named Steve Scully? I met him down in Florida, and he said he went to your school and was on the first crew. He said he was the fastest rower in the boat. Is that true, or was he lying? I think he may have been lying.
Yeah, Steve Scully was lying. He doesn't even row. And if he did, and rowed faster than everyone else in the same boat, he would mess the whole thing up. He said he got to second base with you. Is that the truth?
Steve Scully is a lying son of a bitch, and you can tell him I said so.
Are you going to be around this summer? I think I've got a summer job caddying, so no more camp for me, thank God.
I'll be visiting my father in California. I haven't seen him in 4 years. He has a new wife, and I have 2 half-sisters now. It's like going to find a whole new family. Oh, I hope.
Do you like California? Hello? Write to me about California. How's your second family? Did you get my letters? I checked with your mother and I had the correct address. How come you haven't answered me all summer? Well, I'm back at school now. Hope everything's okay with you. Did you get my letters while you were in California? Or did you have a wicked stepmother who confiscated all of them?
I don't want to talk about California. Ever. For a while, I thought I had 2 families, but now I know I really don't have any. You're very lucky, Andy. You don't know it, but you are. But maybe I'm lucky too in another way. I was talking to Miss Wadsworth, who comes in from Hartford to teach us art. She says I have a real talent. A real talent, both in drawing and painting. And she's going to try me out in pottery as well. She says some afternoon she's going to take me just by myself to her studio in Hartford, and we'll do life drawings of her lover in just a jockstrap. Don't laugh. She says art and sex are sort of the same thing.
Dear Melissa, I have 4 questions, so please concentrate. 1. Will you come up to the midwinter dance with me? 2. If so, can you arrive on the 11:22 Friday night train? 3. Does the rector's wife have to write your headmistress telling her where you'll be staying? And 4. Does the rector's wife also have to write to your mother?
The answer is yes, except for my mother, who won't care.
I have to tell you this right off the bat. I'm really goddamn mad at you. I invite you up here for the only dance my class has been able to go to since we've got here. And I meet you at the train, and I buy you a vanilla milkshake, and I bring you to the school in a taxi. I score 2 goals for my entire team during this game. And the next afternoon, I buy you an $8 gardenia corsage. I make sure that your dance card is completely full with the most regular guys in school, and then what happens? Huh? I now hear that you sneaked off with Bob Bartram during the Vienna waltz, and you were necking with him in the coat room. I heard that from 2 different guys. And then Bob himself brought it up yesterday at breakfast. He said he French kissed you and touched both of your breasts. I tried to punch him, but Mr. Enbody restrained me. I'm really sore. I consider this a betrayal of everything that I hold near and dear, particularly since you would hardly even let me kiss you goodnight after we had cocoa at the rector's. And you know what? You know what I'm talking about? Don't expect any more letters from me, or any telephone calls either during spring vacation. Sincerely yours.
Sorry. I am. I hate that Bob Bartram. I hated him even when I necked with him. I know you won't believe that, but it's true. You can be attracted to someone you hate. Well, maybe you can't, but I can. So, alright. I necked with him. But he never touched my chest, and if he says he did, he should be strung up by his testicles. You tell him that for me at breakfast. Anyway, I got carried away, Andy, and I'm a stupid bitch, and I'm sorry. I felt so guilty about it that I didn't want to kiss you after the cocoa. And besides, Andy, gulp, how do I say this? With you, it's different. You're like a friend to me. You're like a brother. I've never had a brother, and I don't have too many friends, so you're both. Andy, you're it. My mother says you must never say that to a man, but I'm saying it anyway, and it's true. Maybe if I didn't know you so well, maybe if I hadn't grown up with you, maybe if we hadn't written all these goddamn letters all the time, I could have kissed you the way I kissed Bob Bartram. Oh, but please, let's see each other spring vacation. Please. I count on you, Andy. I need you. I think sometimes I'd go stark raving mad if I didn't have you to hold on to. I really think that sometimes. Much love. Happy Easter. I know no one sends Easter cards except maids, but here's mine anyway, drawn with my own hot little hands. I drew those tears on that corny bunny on the left because it misses you so much, but maybe I've just made it all the cornier. Greetings from Palm Beach. Decided to visit my grandmother. Yawn, yawn. I'm a whiz at backgammon and gin rummy. Here you took Gretchen Lascelles to Quo Vadis and sat in the lodges and put your arm around her and smoked. Naughty, naughty. Back at school, but not for long, that's for sure. Caught nipping gin in the woods with Bubbles Harriman. Have to pack my trunk by tonight and be out tomorrow. Mummy's frantically pulling strings all over the eastern seaboard for another school. Miss Wadsworth, my art teacher, thinks I should chuck it all and go to Italy and study art. What do you think? Oh, please write, Andy. Please. I need your advice, or are you too busy thinking about Gretchen Lascelles?
To answer your question about Italy, I think you're way too young to go. My mother said she had a roommate once who went to Italy in the summer. The Italians pinched her all the time on the rear end. Mother says she became thoroughly overstimulated, so I think you should go to another school. Graduate. Go to college. Maybe after that, when you're more mature, you could head to Italy. Well, that's just my advice for whatever it's worth, which is probably not much the way that things are going between you and me right now.
Here I am at Emma Willard's Academy for Young Lesbians. Help. Let me out of here. Plus qu'à change, plus c'est la same shit. Are you coming straight home this June? Because I am. I want to see you. Or are you still in love with Gretchen Lascelles?
For your information, I'm not taking Gretchen Lascelles out anymore. I brought her home after the Penny's party, and my father caught us on the couch. He told me he didn't care what kind of girls I took out as long as I didn't bring them around my mother. Even though my mother was up in bed, still, I guess Gretchen can be embarrassing to older people.
I hope to see you in June then.
I can't come home in June, sorry. I'm going to be a counselor at the school camp for kids in the slums. I'm vice president of my class now, so I'm supposed to set an example of social responsibility, even through the summer into July. So I'll write you letters, and I hope you'll write me back.
I don't want to write letters all the time. I really don't. I want to see you.
You just need more confidence in your letter writing ability. Sometimes you manage to attain a vivid style.
Won't you please just stop writing about writing and come home and go to Campbell's sports party before you go up to that stupid camp? Please? I behave better when you're around. In person. Please.
Greetings from New Hampshire. This card shows the town that we're near. It's where we sneak in and buy our beer from. We're cleaning the place up now, and we're putting up boat docks and caulking canoes because the kids all arrive tomorrow. So I've got to go, and I'll write you soon.
I miss you. I really wish you would come to the Campbell sports party.
Dear Melissa, Sandra McCarthy arrived from home for the second shift here at camp. And I was told all about the Campbell sports party. Told me you were wearing a two-piece bathing suit, and that you ran around goosing girls and pushing all the boys into the pool. Guess you enjoy that sort of crap? He said all the other girls were really furious with you. Do you not want the respect of other women? Stan also said that you let Bucky Zeller put a tennis ball into your cleavage. So, are you the nympho, or what? Don't you ever like just sitting down somewhere, making conversation? Sandy tells me that you're turning into a hot box. So is that the reputation you like to have? Hell, I thought there was a difference between you and Gretchen, but maybe I was wrong. Don't you care about anything in the world except hacking around? Do you feel any obligation at all to help poor people, for example? Sometimes I think your big problem is that you are so rich, you don't have enough to do, so you start playing grab ass with everybody. I'm sorry to say this, but that's what I was told, and I'm slightly disgusted, frankly. I wrote you a letter from New Hampshire. Did you receive it? Are you there, or are you visiting your grandmother, or what? Are you sore at me? I'll bet you're sore at me. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I can be a stuffy bastard sometimes, aren't I? Oh, the hell with you, then.
Ooh, big, tough. Tough Andy using four-letter words like hell.
Screw you.
Don't you wish you could?
Well, everyone else seems to be.
Don't believe everything you read in the papers. Dear Andrew Makepeace Lad the Turd, I just want you to know you hurt me very much. I just want you to know that. Now let's just leave each other alone for a while, all right? All right.
Dear Melissa, my mother wrote me that your grandmother died. Accept my deepest sympathies.
Thank you for your note about my grandmother. I loved her a lot, even though she could be a little boring.
Congratulations on getting into Briarcliff. I hear that that's great.
Thank you for your note about Briarcliff. It's not great, and you know it. In fact, it's a total pit. But it's close to New York, and I can take the train in and take drawing at the Institute 3 days a week. And in 2 years, if I stick it out, Mommy's promised that I can go live in Florence. I hope you like Yale.
Would you consider coming to the Yale-Dartmouth game on Saturday, October 28th?
I'll be there.
Oh, damn. Sorry, Melissa. I have to cancel. My parents have decided to visit the same weekend, and they have to come first, well, according to them. My mother said she would love to have you with us, but my father thinks that you can be somewhat distracting.
You and your parents. Let me know when you decide to grow up.
How about coming to the Harvard game? It's on November 16th.
Do you plan to grow up at the Harvard game?
Just give me a chance. I might actually surprise you.
Okay, let's give it a try. You should know that I'm even richer now than when you said I was rich, thanks to poor Granny. I plan to drive up the front gate of Calhoun College in my new red Chrysler convertible and sit there stark naked, honking my horn and drinking champagne and flashing at all the freshmen.
Here's the whole schedule. We can have lunch at Calhoun around noon, then drive out to the game. There's a sea breeze party at the fence club afterwards, and an eggnog brunch at St. Anthony's the next day. So I'll reserve a room for you at the Taft or the Duncan, probably the Taft, since the Duncan is a pretty seedy joint, I hear.
Make it the Duncan. I hear the Taft is
Hubba bubba,
loaded
good
with
year,
parents all milling around the lobby, keeping tabs on who
Dear
goes
Andy,
up in the elevators.
this is
and
supposed to
wait
be
a thank you
till
note
the
for the
16th.
Yale Harvard weekend,
Duncan,
but
it
I
will be.
don't feel like writing one, and I think you know why. Love, Melissa.
Dear Melissa, I keep thinking about the weekend, and I can't get it out of my mind. It wasn't much good, was it? And I don't mean just the Duncan, I mean the whole thing. We didn't really click, did we? I always had the sense that you were looking over my shoulder, looking for someone else. And ditto with me. Both of us seemed to be expecting something different than what was there. As for the Hotel Duncan, I don't know. Maybe I was a little bit too lost in my sea breezes. Maybe you did, and then what I really think is that there were too many people in that one hotel room. Besides you and me, it seemed my mother was there egging us on, and my father was shaking his head, and your mother zonked out on the couch, and Miss Hawthorne and your grandmother sitting on the sidelines watching over us like hawks. Anyway, I know, I was a dud. I admit it, I am very sorry. And I went to the infirmary on Monday. I talked to the doctor about it, and he said that these things happen all the time. Particularly, when there's a lot of pressure involved, So the woman does not have to worry about it too much, but the man does, anyway. Something like that never happened with Gretchen, I can tell you that. You can write her, you can ask her if you really want to. So.
You know what I think is wrong? These letters. These goddamn letters. That's what's wrong with us, in my humble opinion. I know you more from your letters than I do in person. Maybe that's why I was looking over your shoulder. I was looking for the person who's been in these letters all these years. Or for the person who's not in these letters. I don't know. All I know is you're not quite the same when I see you, Andy. You're really not. I'm not saying you're a jerk in person. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that all this letter writing has kind of messed us up. It's a bad habit. It's made us seem like people we're not. So, maybe what was wrong was that there were two people missing in the Hotel Duncan that night. Namely, the real you and the real me.
Whatever the matter is, we're in real trouble, you and I. That much I realize. So now, what do we do about it? Maybe we should just, concentrate on dancing together. Then we can still hold each other and move together and get very subtly sexy with each other. And then not have to deliver the goods all the time, if you know what I mean. Come to think of it, maybe that's why they sent us to dance school in the first place. Maybe that's why dancing was invented.
At least we should stop writing letters for a while. You could start telephoning me, actually. Here's our door number, Wilson 1-2486.
I hate talking on the telephone. Yours is in this hall, and ours is right by the college dining room, and people are always coming and going and making these cracks. So telephoning it's not like letter writing at all.
I called the telephone company, and they put a private phone in my room. Rogers 2-2403. It's sort of expensive, but at least we can talk.
Well, the reason I'm writing to you is because your phone always seems to be busy. Or else ours is, and I can't afford to have a private one installed by me, so maybe we should just start writing letters again?
No letters, please. Now order that telephone. I'll lend you the dough. Just think about it. You can talk back and forth and hear someone's real voice and get to know someone in life rather than on writing paper, for God's sake. Now get that phone, please.
I'm writing because when I telephoned, you hung up on me. One thing about letters, you can't hang up on them.
You can tear up letters, though. Enclosed are the pieces. Send them to Angela Atkinson at Sarah Lawrence.
What the hell is the matter now?
I hear you're now writing long letters twice a week to Angela Atkinson. That's what's the matter.
Okay, here goes. The reason that I'm writing Angie Atkinson is because I just don't think I can stop writing letters, particularly to girls. As I told you before, in some ways, I feel more alive when I'm holed up in some corner, just sitting and writing things down. I pick up a pen, and almost immediately, everything seems to take shape around me. I love to write. I love writing even to my parents, because then I become the ideal son. I love writing essays for English, because then I'm, for a short while, feeling like a true scholar. I love writing letters to the newspaper, or notes to my friends, or Christmas cards, anything where I have to put down words, and I love writing to you. You most of all. I always have. I feel like a true lover when I'm writing to you. Even this letter, which I'm writing with my own hand, with my own pen, in my own penmanship, it comes from me. No one else. It's a present of myself to you. It's not typewritten, though I guess I could use a carbon, but it's not a telephone call. That's dead as soon as it's over. Do you understand? No, this is just me. Me, the way that I write, the way that my writing is, the way that I want to be towards you, giving myself to you across this distance, not keeping or retaining any part of it for myself, giving this piece of myself to you totally. Yes, you can tear me up, you can throw me out. You could keep me. Read me today, tomorrow, anytime you want, until you die.
Oh boy, Andy. Love, Melissa.
I meant what I wrote. I've thought about it. I've thought about all these dumb things which happened to us when we were younger, when we had these absent parents and slapping nurses and stupid rules and obsolete schooling, empty rituals, hopelessly confusing all of our sexual customs. My God, when I think about it now, it's unbelievable. It's a fantasy. It's like in your Oz books, the way when we grow up, they gave us land in Oz, and they made us write about it. They didn't make us write particularly well, and they didn't always give us important things to write about, no, but they made us sit down and organize our thoughts and convey them on paper, in the moment, as clearly as we could to another person. So thank God for that, because that saved us, or at least it saved me. I have to keep writing letters, okay? If I can't write them to you, I am going to have to write to somebody else. I don't think that I could ever stop writing completely. Now, can I please come up and see you next weekend? Or better yet, would you please escape from that suburban Sing Sing and come down here and stay with me? I wrote my way into a problem, and God damn it, I am going to write my way out. I can make another reservation at the Hotel Duncan, and I promise I'll put down my pen, and I will give you a better time.
Dear Andy, guess what? Right while I was in the middle of reading your letter, Jack Duffield telephoned from Amherst and asked me for a weekend up there. So, I said yes before I got to where you asked me. Sorry, sweetie. But it looks like the telephone wins in the end.
Dear Melissa, somehow, I don't think this is the end. It could be, but I don't really think it is. At least I hope it isn't. Love, Andy.
Hey, yoo-hoo! Look where I am. Florence. Oops, I mean Firenze. I love it.
What are you doing in Florence?
What am I doing? I'm painting, among other things.
Good luck on painting. Go slow on other things. Merry Christmas.
Buon Natale.
Happy birthday. Mother wrote you won that art prize in Perugia. She said it was a really big deal, so congratulations.
Congratulations on making Scroll and Key, whatever that is.
Merry Christmas from the land of Oz.
Feliz Navidad from the Costa del Sol.
Happy birthday from the Sterling Library.
Here you graduated summa cum laude and with all sorts of prizes. Sounds disgusting.
Anchors aweigh. Here I am looking like Henry Fonda in Mr. Roberts, writing this during the mid-watch on the bridge of a giant attack aircraft carrier churning through the Mediterranean in the wake of Odysseus and Lord Nelson and Robert Halliburton. You'll be pleased to know our guns are loaded and our planes in position and our radar is constantly scanning the skies, all designed simply and solely to protect you against communism. Next time you see me, I want you to salute, all right?
I should have known you'd join the Navy. Now you can once again be with all the boys.
Why don't you come see me in January? Could we meet?
Sorry, I'll be in Zermatt in January.
Well, ship will be in the Mediterranean all spring. We arrive in Naples March 3rd, 4th, 5th. How about standing on the pier and at least waving at us?
As the French say, je suis désolé, and meeting Mother in Paris in March. Why don't you sail up the Seine?
Merry Christmas from Manila. I've been transferred to an admiral's staff.
Happy New Year from Aspen.
What are you doing in Aspen?
Going steadily downhill.
Hello from Hong Kong.
Goodbye to San Francisco.
Konnichiwa. Shore duty in Japan.
Hey you, rumor hath it you're hooked up with some little Jack Bar girl out there. Say it isn't so. Mother wrote that you're living with some Japanese geisha girl and your family's all upset. Is that true? Did you get my letter? You're so far away, and your Navy address is so peculiar that I'm not sure I'm reaching you. I hear you're seriously involved with a lovely Japanese lady. Would you write me about her?
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I thought you might appreciate this card. It's a print by the 19th century artist. He's from Japan, and it's called Two Lovers Meeting on a Bridge in the Rain. Love, Andy.
Hey, you sly dog, are you getting subtle in your old age? Are you trying to tell me something? If so, tell me more.
I told my psychiatrist about the great love affair that you're having in Japan.
I told my psychiatrist about the great love affair you're having in Japan. I said I felt suddenly terribly jealous. He said that most American men have to get involved with a dark-skinned woman before they can connect with a gorgeous blonde goddess, the one they really love. He brought up James Fenimore Cooper and Faulkner and John Ford movies and went on and on. Is that true? Write me what you think. I'm dying to hear from you. Did you get my last letter? I hope I didn't sound flip. Actually, I've just become involved with someone too. His first name is Darwin, and he works on Wall Street, where he believes in the survival of the fittest. I'd love to hear from you. Your mother told my mother that you've decided to marry your Japanese friend and bring her home. Oh no! Gasp, sob, sigh. Say it isn't so. I've decided to marry Darwin. He doesn't know it yet, but he will. Won't you at least wish me luck?
Lieutenant Junior Grade Andrew M. Ladd III regrets that he is unable to accept the kind invitation.
Dear Andy, thank you for the lovely Japanese bowl. I'll put flowers in it when you come to visit us. If you come to visit us. And if you bring flowers. Maybe you'll just bring your Japanese war bride and we can all sit around and discuss Rashomon. I know you'll like Darwin. When he laughs, it's like Pinocchio turning into a donkey. We're living in a carriage house in New Canaan, close to the train station, and I've got a studio all of my own. P.S. Won't you please write me about your big romance? Mother says your parents won't even talk about it anymore.
Dear Mel, I'm writing to tell you this. Outside of you, and I mean outside of you, this was probably the most important thing that ever happened to me. And I mean was, because it's over. It's gone. I'm coming home, and that's all I ever want to say about it ever again.
Mr. and Mrs. Darwin H. Cobb announced the birth of their daughter, Francesca.
Many congratulations on your baby.
Harvard Law School yet? Are you getting all stuffy and self-important?
As you know, I've always liked writing letters. So I decided I might do better trying to write laws, which after all are the letters that civilization writes to itself.
Yes, you are getting all stuffy and self-important. Come and have a drink with us sometime. We're right on the way to New York, and sooner or later everyone comes to New York.
I read the New York Times account of your show in Stamford. It sounds like you are causing a series of seismic shocks up and down the Merritt Parkway.
Don't joke about my work. There's more there than what they said in your goddamn Bible, the New York Times. Enclosed, see what other critics said. Notice they think I'm good. I am. Or could be. If I could only focus.
I'm sorry. I know that you're good. Hey, I've always known it.
Here you made law review, whatever that means. I assume you review laws? I wish you'd review some of the marriage laws.
Just a quick note. Are you in any trouble?
I don't understand your last note. We're fine. All fine. Everyone's fine.
Congratulations on baby number 2.
Number 2 is a perfect way to describe this particular baby.
Greetings from Washington. Here, clerking for a Supreme Court justice isn't just a fancy situation, as it would sound.
Dear Andy, I was very sorry to hear about the death of your father. I know he was a great influence on you, and I know you loved him very much. I also know he didn't like me. I'm sure he thought I was bad for you, and I probably was. Still, he was good. Good, decent man, and I always knew where I stood with him when you'd bring me home to your family. Back in the old days. Back in the land of Oz. I wish I'd had a father like that. Please accept my dearest sympathies. Love, Melissa.
Dear Mel, thank you for your note about my father. I did love him. He was such a classy guy, the best of his breed. Even now that he's gone, I can still hear him reminding me of my obligations to family, country, to myself, in roughly that order. All my life he taught me those born to privilege have special responsibilities, which is why I suppose I came home alone from Japan. That's why I chose to study the law. That's why I'll probably enter politics at some level, sometime down the line. Thanks for writing. Love, Andy.
Merry Christmas. I'm enclosing a snapshot Mother took of me and the girls. Don't I look domestic? Stop looking at my hair. By the way, you'll notice you know who is not in the picture.
Thanks for the Christmas card. Are you in trouble?
Greetings from Reno. Could I stop by Washington on the way back east?
Let me know when you're coming and you can meet Jane.
Jane.
Yeah, I'm going out with a great girl named Jane.
Melissa Gardner Cobb regrets that she will be unable to accept the kind invitation.
Dear Mel, I had to add my 2 cents worth to Jane's thank you note for the wedding present. Guess who is jealously peeking over my shoulder to make sure that this isn't a love letter? First of all, thanks for the present, whatever it was. The tray. I am now told that it was a tray. A hand-painted tray. Hand-painted by you, I would bet. Anyway, thank you. I hope all goes well with you, as it does with us. We are moving to New York in the fall. I've got a job with one of those high-powered law firms, so it'll probably be stuffy as hell for a little while, but I'll learn the ropes. Besides, it's my home state. Might be a good jumping-off place for something political a little way down the line. We both really wanted you to come to dinner once we settled in. And don't say that you never come to New York. Sooner or later, everyone comes to New York. Someone wrote me that a long, long time ago. Merry Christmas from us to you. Where are you these days? Happy birthday. See? Ever a married man. I never forget anything. Well, get well soon. Mother wrote that you had some difficulty, and I hope it's not too serious, and by now I hope you're feeling fine. I can't remember exactly what 1 dozen red roses are supposed to say, but here they are. I hope they say, cheer up. Hey, I sent you some flowers a while back. Did you actually ever receive them? And are you all right?
Dear Andy, yes, I'm all right. Yes, I got your flowers. Yes, I'm fine. No, actually, I'm not fine. And they tell me I've got to stop running around saying I am. I'm here at this posh joint outside Boston, drying out for $155 a day. One of my problems is that I got slightly too dependent on the Kickapoo Joy Juice habit, which they tell me I picked up during the party days back in our town. Another is that I slide into these terrible lows. Mommy says I drag everybody down, and I guess she's right. Anyway, the result is that my ex has taken over custody of the girls, and I'm holed up here, popping tranquilizers, talking my head off in single and group psychiatric sessions, and turning into probably the biggest bore in the greater Boston area.
Have you thought about doing some painting again? I really think that might help. Did you get my note about taking up art again? You were really good, and you seem to know it. You should keep it up.
I did get your note. I have taken it up, and it helps, really. Thank you. Channeling my rage, enlarging my vision, all that. I hope all goes well with you, and... Wait, hold it. I'm looking it up in my little black book. Ah! Jane. It's Jane. I hope all's well with you and Jane.
Merry Christmas from Andy and Jane Ladd and Andrew the Fourth. Guess the name of my dog.
Porky.
You got it.
Merry Christmas from San Antonio. I'm trying the Southwest. I can see the most incredible shapes from my bedroom window, and there's also a pretty incredible shape now sleeping in my bed.
Season's greetings from the Ladd family. Mother wrote to me that you were planning on getting married again.
I was. I did. I'm not now.
Donna, Rhodes, and McAllister announced the appointment to partnership of Mr. Andrew M. Ladd III.
Dear Andy, now you're such a hot-shot lawyer. Could you help me get my children back? Darwin hardly lets me near them, and when he does, they behave as if I had some contagious disease. I wasn't much of a mother, but maybe I could improve if I just had the legal responsibility.
Better stay out of this one. Our past connections, a conflict of interest.
Hello from Egypt. I'm trying to start again in the cradle of civilization.
Christmas greetings from the lads. Andy, Jane, Drew, Nicholas, and Ted, and of course, Porgy.
I'm thinking of moving to Los Angeles. Do you know anyone in Los Angeles? Does anyone know anyone in Los Angeles?
Joy to the world from the lads. Note our new address.
Merry Christmas. Hey, you. What's going on? Just when I decide to move to New York, I see you've scampered off to the suburbs.
I find the suburbs generally safer.
Chicken. Mother wrote that you won some important election for the Republicans. I'm terribly disappointed. I love all politicians, but I find Democrats better in bed.
I'm a liberal Republican with a strong commitment to women's rights. Does that count?
Depends on your position. Paintings and Drawings by Melissa Gardner, The Hastings Gallery, 422 Broadway. March 18th through April 30th. Opening reception March 26th to 8 p.m. Note, I've gone back to my maiden name. That's a laugh.
I got your announcement for the new show. Good luck on that. P.S. I would love to have one of your paintings. We could really use a little excitement on our living room walls. Seriously. What would one cost?
Come to the show and find out.
I never made it to your show. I'm sorry. Things just came up.
Chicken again.
Yeah, you're right.
Actually, it's just as well. I'm going through what the critics call an anarchistic phase. They say I'm dancing on the edge of an abyss. You better stay away. I might take you with me when I fall.
Dear friends, Jane tells me that it's about time I took a crack at the annual Christmas letter, so here goes. Let's start at the top with our quarterback, Jane herself, who never ceases to amaze us all. Not only has she continued to be a superb mother to our 3 sons, but she has also managed to commute into the city and hold down a part-time job in the gift shop at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Furthermore, she is now well on her way to completing a full-fledged master's degree in arts administration at SUNY Purchase. More power to Jane, so say we all. We are so proud of all 3 of our boys. Young Drew was soccer captain at Exeter last fall and hopes to go on to Yale. Nicholas, our rebel in residence, has become a computer genius in high school. Already received several tantalizing offers for summer jobs from local electronics firms. We all know that it is tougher to place our youngsters into meaningful summer employment than to get them into Harvard. So we are so very proud of so very far Nick has come. Ted, our last, but in no way our least, is now playing the clarinet in the school band at Dickinson Country Day. Since Jane and I are barely capable of singing You Are My Sunshine without going disastrously flat, when we hear him produce his dulcet sounds from that clarinet, we just look at each other and we have this wild surmise. We recently bought a family summer place from my brother and sister, and we hope to spend as much time as we can get out there, doing some gardening and some relaxing, and as the boys say, generally vegging out. Jane and I have become killers on the tennis court. Hereby we challenge all newcomers. If any of our friends are in the Adirondack area this summer, we expect telephone calls, we expect visits, we expect elaborate house presents. I've very much enjoyed serving on the state legislature. We've proposed and written a number of bills, and we've won some and we've lost some. But all my family have to wish to do something in the way of public service. It's been a great pleasure to put that wish out into the world as practice. For those of my friends who have urged me to seek higher office, let me simply say that I have more than enough challenges right here where I am, thank you. Jane and the boys join me in wishing each and every one of you a happy holiday season.
Dear Andy, if I ever get another one of those drippy Xeroxed Christmas letters from you, I think I'll invite myself out to your ducky little house for dinner. And when you're all sitting there eating terribly healthy food and discussing terribly important things and generally congratulating yourselves on all your accomplishments, I think I'll stand up on my chair and turn around and moon the whole fucking family.
You're right. It was a smug, dumb letter. I apologize for doing that to you. You know, Jane is the one who normally writes it, and it sounds better when she does it. I always felt better writing to just one person at a time, such as to you. I guess what I was really saying is that as far as my family's concerned, we're all managing to, hold our heads above water in a tricky world. And Jane and I have our problems, but yes, we are comfortable with each other now. And the boys, for the moment, are staying out of trouble. So Nicky seems to be off his drugs now, and Ted is getting help with his stammer, and Porgy Jr., my old Cocker Spaniel, died, and I just miss him too much to get a replacement. I'm thinking of running for Senate next fall if O'Hara retires. What do you think of that? I would really like your opinion. If you decide to answer this letter, you can write care of my office address, and Jane has a slight tendency toward melodrama, particularly after she got a hold of some of the letters and the last little note you sent.
The Senate yet? I should have known. Oh, Andy, just think. Once again, you can be with all boys. Oh, hell, go for it if you want. You'll be an image of righteousness and vicissitude in your God-forsaken land. Maybe it's just me that's God-forsaken these days.
The Honorable Andrew M. Ladd III wishes to express his thanks for your generous donation to his senatorial campaign. You sent too much. You really didn't need to.
Greetings from Silver Hill. Slight regression in the liquor department. They say it's in the genes. Oh, Lord knows. My mother has the problem, and my father too in the end. Anyway, I'm working on it. Darwin is being a real shit about the girls. He's cut down on my visitation rights, so when you get to Washington, I want you to write a special law about vindictive ex-husbands, banishing them to Lower Slobovia, forever and ever. Amen.
Season's greetings from Senator and Mrs. Andrew M. Ladd and family.
Season's greetings indeed. Is that all you can say to me after 40 years? I'm warning you, Andy. Keep that shit up and I swear I'll come down and moon the whole Senate.
Sorry. My staff sent that out. Merry Christmas, old friend. How are you these days? Where are you? Where are you doing?
Living in New York, alone, for a change. But the big question is, who am I these days? That's the toughie. I keep thinking about that strange old world we grew up in. How did it manage to produce both you and me? Stalwart, upright servant of the people, and a boozed-out, cynical, lascivious old broad. The best and the worst. That's us.
Don't be so tough on yourself. Get back to the art.
I'll try.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Much love.
Much love? Much love? God, Andy, how sexy. Remember how much that meant in our preppy days? If it was just love, you were out in the cold, and if it was all my love, you were hemmed in for life. But much love meant that things could go either way. Remember?
Merry Christmas and love from us all.
Saw you on 60 Minutes. You look fabulous. And that was a great little pep talk in the Senate on our responsibilities to Latin America. Don't forget to keep your eye on the ball.
Thanks for your card. And what ball is that?
The ball is that money doesn't solve everything. It helps, but not as much as people think. Take it from one who knows. That's the ball.
Merry Christmas and love. What are you up to these days, huh?
I'm trying to work with clay. Remember what kind of clay we used to use in Miss Mickler's art class in 4th grade? That old gray stuff? We call it plasticine. I'm trying to work with that. I'm making cats, dogs. I even made a kangaroo jumping over a glass of orange juice. Remember that? I'm trying to get back to some of those old feelings that I had back in the homeland. I have to find feelings, any feelings, otherwise I'm dead. Come down and help me search. I have a studio down in Soho, and we could at least have dinner and talk about old times, couldn't we, Senator Ladd? P.S. Did you know that my mother got married again at the age of 82? To my father's brother yet? So now you have to call her Miss Gardner again, just like the old days. The wheel seems to be coming round full circle. Hint. Hint.
Just a quick note on the way to the airport. When you write, put "Attention Mrs. Walpole" on the envelope. She's my private secretary. I've just alerted her, and she'll pass her letters directly on to me. Otherwise, the whole office staff seems to get a peek at what you write.
I'm having a show opening January 28th through 25th of February. Won't you come? I'd love to have you see what I've been up to. Maybe it will ring a few old bells.
I can't make that. I'll be on an official visit to the Philippines for most of February, and then it's a week spring skiing at Stowe with my boys, so good luck with it. Well, how did the show go? I haven't heard from you. Tell me about your show. Mel, I want to hear from you, please.
The show stank. The crowd hated it. The critics hated it. I hated it. It was nostalgic shit. You can't go home again, and you can quote me on that. I'm turning to photography now. Realism, that's my bag. Present tense. Look at the modern world squarely in the face and don't blink. Oh, Andy, couldn't I see you? You're all I have left.
I'll be in New York next Tuesday, the 19th. I have to make a fundraising speech at some dinner. I could stop by your place afterwards.
I'll be there all evening.
Red roses. This time, I think I know what they mean.
All I know is that after last night, I want to see you again. Any chance of any other fundraisers coming up in the near future? Miss Walpole, are you there? Are you delivering the mail?
I'm sorry. I've taken a while to reply. I was upstate mending a few fences, and then I was in Zurich for a 3-day economic conference, and then I had a weekend with Jane, and I was trying to mend a few fences there. Darling, I'll have to ask you not to telephone the office. Every call has to be logged, and most of them get screened by these over-eager college interns who like to rush back to Cambridge and New Haven and announce to their classmates in political science class that Senator Ladd is shacking up on the side. Look, the phone simply isn't secure. At long last, I think that the letter beats out the telephone, my love. Guess what? I'm writing this with the old Parker 51 that my grandmother gave me when I went away to school. I found it in the back of my bureau drawer with my scroll and key pin and my Lieutenant J.G. bars from the Navy and that Zippo lighter that you gave me at some dance. My pen didn't even write at first. I had to clean it out and then traipse all over Washington looking for a store. It's really hard to find places that sell ink. Anyway, it really feels good holding this thing. I don't know, it feels good just writing to you again. After so long. Longhand. Forming my D's and my T's the way Miss Emerson taught us so very long ago. I know, you never liked writing letters. But now, you have to. As for business, I plan on coming through New York next Wednesday, and I will call you from the airport if there's time for me to stop by.
Sweetheart, I loved seeing you. Come again.
I will be stopping through a week from next.
Did you ever dream we'd be so good at sex?
Two uptight old wasps going at it like a sale at Brooks Brothers.
I figure 50 years went into last night.
Well, let's go for 100.
Oh my God, come again soon. Or sooner.
Yes, I'm already making the plans.
I have to go to San Francisco to visit the girls. Couldn't we meet somewhere on the way?
I don't see how we could possibly go public with
some
this
country inn,
information.
some deliciously seedy
I just don't
motel.
see how.
See you for more than just a few hours.
There's such a price that we would have to pay.
I'm getting so I think about nothing but
I'm
how
not sure
you
that I can change my whole life so radically,
The
Mel.
Politicians have gotten divorced. I mean, Rockefeller, Reagan.
Jane and the children in my particular constituency.
You've become the
would
center
never
of my life. I mean,
understand.
if you left, I don't think that I could
Because of
really...
the coming election, I don't think that we could really do this
Dear
now.
Andy, a reporter called up from the Daily News. What do I do about it?
Nothing.
I suppose you know all this, but there's a crack about us in Newsweek. And my mother heard some radio talk show where they actually named names. What should I do? Go away? What?
Nothing.
They called Darwin, you know. They tracked him down. Son of a bitch told them this has been going on for years.
Well, we wish it had been.
Now they're telephoning. What do I say?
Just say that we're old, good friends.
Friends, I like. Good, I like. Old, I'm beginning to have problems with.
And don't say anything, all right? Just hang up. This too shall pass.
Will I be seeing you again?
We better not for a while.
I meant after the election.
We better lie low for a while.
I miss you terribly.
Better lie low.
I need you, Andy. You're my anchor man these days. Without you, I'm not sure I can just...
Hold on.
Where were you? I
Hold
waited
on.
3 hours hoping that you'd at least
hold on,
call.
please, and don't telephone.
I mean,
Mrs. Walpole was sick that day.
I
don't know
haven't
who was
seen you in
responsible.
over a
Because of the
month
coming
now.
election, I
Surely
haven't
you
had
could
time.
at least take
If
time
I want to
out
get re-elected,
I need
can't
you.
be
I need to
bothered
be
with
with
this.
you.
Because
I
of
don't
the
know if
election,
I
have
can.
to take care of the election. The
I
election
haven't
comes
heard from you in
first.
6 weeks, Andy. Are you trying to tell me something, Andy? Is this it, Andy? Congratulations on landslide victory. Love, Melissa.
Could we meet at your place next Sunday night?
Oh, thank God.
We have to talk, Melissa.
Uh-oh, talk. I'm scared of talk. In fact, I dread it.
Dearest Mel, are you all right? That was a heavy scene last Sunday, but I know that I'm right. We've got to go one way or the other, and the other leads nowhere right now for either of us. And I know I sounded like a stuffy prick, and I do feel that I have a responsibility to Jane and to my boys. And now, after this election, I have a responsibility to my whole constituency, which had enough faith and trust in me to vote me back in despite all this crap with the newspapers. And look, it wouldn't work with us right now. And maybe not in the long run either, sweetheart. We are just too old. We're carrying too much old baggage on our backs, and we'd probably only last about a week if we tried to get married anyway. We still have our letters, right? We can always do this. Letters have always been our strength, our salvation, and Miss Walpole is still with us. There's no reason why we can't continue to keep in touch with each other in this wonderful, original way. I count on your letters. I really always have. I hope you count on mine. Are you there? I keep putting please forward on the envelopes, but who knows if they get through. Now I've even resorted to the telephone, but all I get is your damn machine. Come on, please, I need to hear from you. Senator and Mrs. Andrew M. Ladd III and family send you warm holiday greetings and every good wish for the new year.
Andy Ladd, is that you? Blow-dried and custom-tailored and jogging trim at 55. Hiding behind that lovely wife with her heels together and her hands folded discreetly over her snatch. And is that your new dog, Andy? I see you've graduated to a golden retriever. And are those your sons and heirs? And help! Is that a grandchild nestled in someone's arms? God, Andy, you look like the Holy Family. Season's greetings and happy holidays and even Merry Christmas, Senator Ladd. We who are about to die salute you.
Just reread your last note. What's this we who are about to die stuff? May I see you again? I want to see you again, if I may. Dear Mrs. Gardner, I seem to have lost touch with Melissa. I wonder if you might send me her latest address. Dear Mel, your mother wrote that you'd return to the land of Oz, so I'm flying up next Thursday to see you.
No, please don't. Please stay away. I've let myself go. I'm fat. I'm ugly. My hair is horrible. I'm locked in at the funny farm all week, and then Mother gets me weekends if I'm good. They put me on all sorts of new drugs, and half the time I don't make sense at all. I can't even do finger painting now without fucking it up. My girls won't even talk to me, and they won't even talk to me on the telephone now. They say I upset them too much. I made a mess of things, Andy. I made a total ghastly mess. I don't like life anymore. I hate it. Sometimes I think that if you and I had just... Oh, but just stay away, Andy, please.
I'm arriving Saturday morning, and I'll meet you at your mother's.
Don't! I don't want to see you. I won't be there. I'll be gone, Andy. I swear I'll be gone.
Dear Mrs. Gardner, I think the first letter I ever wrote was to you, accepting an invitation for Melissa's birthday party, and now I'm writing you again about her death. I want to say a few words on paper that I couldn't say at her funeral, both when I spoke and when you and I talked afterward. As you may know, Mel and I managed to keep in touch with each other for most of our lives, primarily through our letter writing. Even now, as I write this letter to you, I feel like I'm also writing it to her.
Wow. Now you're in your element, Andy.
We had a complicated relationship, she and I, all of our lives. We went in very different directions. But somehow, over all those years, I think we managed to give something special to each other. Melissa expressed all the dangerous and rebellious feelings I never dared admit to.
Now, he tells me.
And I like to think that I gave her some sense of balance.
Balance. Oh, hell. I give up. Have it your way, Andy. Balance.
Most of the things I did in life, I did with her partly in mind. And if I said or did an inauthentic thing, I could almost hear Mel groaning over my shoulder. And now they're gone. And I really don't know how I'll ever get along without them.
You'll survive, Andy.
I have a wonderful wife and fine children and a place in the world that I feel proud of. But the death of Mel suddenly leaves a huge gap in my life.
No, Andy.
The thought of never being able to write again, to connect again, or get some signal back fills me with this emptiness that's really hard for me to describe.
No, Andy. Stop.
I don't think there are many people in the world who've had the benefit of such a friendship. But it was more than just a friendship, too. I know that I loved Mel. We were in love from the day we met. When we walked into second grade, looking like the lost princess of Oz.
Oh, Andy, please. I can't handle it.
I don't think I've ever loved anyone that way. I really did love her. And I know I never will again. She was at the heart of my life. And I miss her already. Desperately. I just wanted to say this to you and to her. Sincerely, Andy.